joined. Can we share our share our screen?
Oh,
This one.
this one.
Mm.
And share.
Mm. First one. Mm.
Okay, like this one. Yes.
Good evening, sir. Sir, shall we start the program?
Just, I think 1 minute or 2 minutes you can wait. Let
Oh,
the
yes, sir.
just 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You may start now.
Good evening, everyone. I welcome all of you onto the platform of UGC Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, GAD-MMTTC. Formerly it was known as GAD-TLC, SGTB Khalsa College, University of Delhi. NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program, which is going to start from today, that is 7th January 2025, which will go up to 17th January 2025. This is being done in collaboration with Prime Minister College of Excellence, Government Madhav Arts and Commerce College, Ujjain, and this is being done in Sri Guru Tej Bahadur Khalsa College, University of Delhi. And under the Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program, Bharat Ratna Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji, on behalf of GAD-TLC, we welcome all the participants, administrators, teachers, research scholars, and others from all over India. The executive team of UGC-MMTTC contains Padambhushan Sardar Tarlochan Singh, Chairman, Governing Body, SGTB Khalsa College, DU. Professor Gurmohinder Singh, Principal, SGTB Khalsa College, DU. And Professor Vimal Rao, Director, UGC-MMTTC, Professor, Department of Chemistry, SGTB Khalsa College. Member Expert Committee, MMT Program, UGC. And the organizing team comprises of Professor Sarida Pasi, Sakharuzain College, New Delhi, Professor Susan Verghese, myself from St. John's College, Agra, Shikhar Kumar from Sri Aurobindo College, University of Delhi, Professor Shubham Kumbare, PM College, Professor Shubham Kumbare from Madhav Arts Commerce College, Ujjain, and Dr. Dinesh Verma from PM College of Excellence, Madhav Arts and Commerce College, Ujjain, Dr. Arthi, Viva College of Arts, Commerce and Science. So on behalf of the core team and organizing team, I welcome all the participants of today's NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program. So let me introduce today's speaker, Professor Dr. A.K. Bakshi sir. He is the founder, Vice Chancellor, PDM University, Bahadurgarh, and a former Vice Chancellor, Uprato University, Allahabad, and former Executive Director, Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius. So I would like to introduce Sir in brief. Sir has been a renowned academician and a former Sri Shankarlal Professor of Chemistry in the University of Delhi. He is the founding Vice Chancellor of PDM University, Bahadurgarh, Haryana. He has also been an Executive Director, Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius. And Sir has been he has also been the head of chemistry, director of CPDHE, and director of Institute of Lifelong Learning of Delhi University. He has been a visiting professor at GGSIP University in Delhi. Professor Bakshi has also been the chairman of the GAD-TLC and member of the standing committee of the Mission on Education through ICT under NMEICT of the Government of India. He was also the chairman of the Committee for Chemistry for Sakshat Portal of MHRD, Government of India, a double gold medalist, record breaker, and a recipient of several awards and academic honors. Sir has been honored twice for his outstanding contributions to education by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Professor Bakshisa is the author, co-author of nearly 200 research and education articles, and he owns one patent. He authored 11 books as an author or co-author, 51 e-books or books as editor, chairman, convener of the working group, as an author and co-author for PG chemistry courses and ARPID programs of the MHRD. Sir has also published a new book on quantum chemistry. Hearty congratulations, sir. And I will also definitely own one. So I am also interested in quantum chemistry. Sir, Professor Bakshi sir is one of the most sought after speakers in the country, having delivered more than 400 invited speeches in last 4 years on different aspects of education at various national and international platforms. Professor Bakshi has also been a member of National Writing Team for Chemistry, Class 11 and 12 books of NCRT. Sir has been elected as the president of the section of the chemical sciences of the ISCA for the year 2011-12. He has also been a member of various committees on national and international importance. Sir was also recently felicitated by the Union Minister Srimati Smriti Zubin Iraniji for his outstanding performance as a chairman GAD-TLC in the professional development of teachers of the country. Sir is also one of the first persons from universities in India to have been selected as member scientist of third Indian research expedition to Antarctica. This expedition built India's permanent base in Dakshin Gangotri in Antarctica. So we welcome you to this platform. Of course, this is your platform. On behalf of GAD-TLC, once again, I welcome you to this platform. So you are going to speak on higher education and society. So over to you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Professor Susan Varghese, for your very kind words of introduction. And I also extend my warm greetings to all the participants from all over the country who have joined this NEP orientation and sensitization program. And I'm very sure that this program is going to be a great learning experience for all of you. This is focused around national education policy, and through different modules, we will talk about different aspects of higher education which need to be given due consideration while teaching. So today is the first talk, and in this talk, I shall be speaking on what are going to be the challenges in higher education before all of you. You are all teachers in higher education. You should all be aware of what are going to be the challenges in higher education so that you can accordingly equip yourself to meet those challenges. So this is going to be the first inaugural talk. And before I start my talk, let me also request all the participants, please keep your videos on. This is mandatory as per the UGC guidelines. So please do that. And let me share my screen. So this is the title of my talk. In the light of NEP 2020, Empowering Teachers for Challenges in Higher Education in India in the 21st Century. And as I have written here, challenges are opportunities in disguise. It's up to you how well you make use of them. So this is going to be a motivational talk based on NEP 2020 with an aim to empower you so that you can succeed and thrive in the 21st century. And believe you me, it can prove to be a game changer for each one of you. This talk is based on my conceptualization and experience and will prepare you for facing the challenges in your professional life as well as even personal life also, some aspects. The thinking behind the talk is give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So this talk is something like feeding you for a lifetime. This talk will be in two parts. In part A, which will be an introductory one, I will talk about NEP 2020 and traditional roles of teachers. Now, when I say NEP 2020, the question is, what is the spirit behind national education policy? See, whenever a new education policy comes, there is a reason for that. And what is the reason? The thinking is that education is relevant and of quality only when it is able to serve the needs of the changing society. See, otherwise education has no meaning. And the needs of the society keep on changing. That is the reason why new and new education policies keep on coming. And you will all agree that 21st century world is changing very, very fast. Perhaps never it has been so fast. And it is mainly because of technological advancements. And therefore, this national education policy proposes various reforms in education which are suited to 21st century needs. Now, what does this policy say? This policy, if you read this document of this policy, it is a visionary document which expresses the aspirations of the nation. And it aims at making India a global knowledge superpower. When I say global knowledge superpower, it means superpower not only in terms of knowledge dissemination, that is teaching, learning, but also in terms of knowledge creation. We should also become superpowers in knowledge creation, and knowledge creation is research. So we need to excel in research also. And the second is global study destination. What does it mean? It means that our higher educational institutions should become so good that they are the destination for many higher education learners from all over the world. They come to India for their higher studies. So these are the two major aims of NEP 2020. But then, you do not become all this just by saying. You have to do a lot of things. And ultimately, this policy wants to make India a vibrant knowledge society. See, what is a vibrant knowledge society? A vibrant knowledge society is a dynamic community where knowledge is actively created. That means you do research, then that is shared, and then utilized to drive innovation, economic growth, and social well-being. See, that is why it is said that research is the basis of the development. Because when you do research, you create new knowledge, then you share, you use it to come out with new innovation. That is how the economic growth occurs, etc. So this is ultimately the aim. That means this policy focuses significantly on research and innovation. And it has now also created National Research Foundation, NRF. This has been created under this policy, which will be the main funding agency for all research projects. In any discipline they may be, those will be funded through National Research Foundation. And then, this policy also proposes to achieve its all goals by making school and college education more holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. These are the three features which are going to be introduced and which have been to some extent introduced. Holistic education, flexible, and multidisciplinary. And then we also have, as you must have heard, academic bank of credits, which allows you to exit and come at various times. That means flexibility is introduced through that. And this entire policy is based on 5 pillars. One is access. That means it wants to enhance the reach of higher education. Access to higher education needs to be enhanced. Currently, it is about 27 to 28%. This policy has a target of 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. This is one pillar. It will work on that. Second is quality has to be maintained. We do not know what quality means in education. We will talk about that. Then education needs to be imparted with equity. No discrimination, fair, and then affordability and accountability. These are the 5 pillars of NEP 2020. And when I say education should be holistic, this means overall development. See, wherever you present yourself as a whole. Your physical, emotional, mental, and social growth or development should be there. It should not be lopsided. So that is the meaning of holistic development. Then comes equity. This is the meaning of education being imparted with equity. You can see on the right side. You are fair, social justice, unlike equality, which is on the left side. And then, why I am focusing on empowering teachers? You may ask the question. Please remember, the quality of an education system can never exceed the quality of its teachers. So if you want to enhance the quality of an education system, you must raise the competence level of your teachers. See, it is said, an institution is ultimately as good as its faculty. That is why, if you look at the top institutions in the world, they are top class mainly because of the quality of the faculty. You cannot become a top class institution just with a mediocre faculty. It will never be possible. So that is the reason why we are focusing on empowerment of the teachers. Because, once the teachers are empowered, they in turn will empower their students. So whole thing is ultimately to support student learning. And please remember, students are the most important for us. They are the greatest natural resource for us, the minds of our children. India is one of the youngest nations of the world. 50% population is less than 25 years. 65% population less than 35 years. So it's a big demographic dividend which we enjoy. And we need to ready these young children for future. We need to guide them. We need to give them the right type of education. And for this, to a great extent, responsibility rests with you, the teachers. And please remember, students may be just 25% of our population, but then they are 100% of our future. And we have to ensure that all children, all students get the right type of education. Because, a child miseducated is a child lost. We cannot afford to lose even a single child. No talent of the country should go waste. And this is something which we have to ensure. So this was, in very brief, the salient features of national education policy. Now I will come to the traditional roles of a teacher in higher education. Just a quick recap. And you all know that these are the major roles of a teacher: doing teaching, that is disseminating knowledge, then creating knowledge, that is research and guiding research, and then academic administration and management. And then a teacher is expected to excel in all the three roles. But based on my experience, what I think is, if you want to be an outstanding teacher or a researcher, you should have a very sound and deep knowledge in your discipline. You should be very good in practical skills wherever required. You should have clarity of concepts, and your teaching should reflect the amount of thinking you have done on the subject. And then you should have the passion to become an outstanding teacher or a researcher. See, all these things are very easy to say, but normally many people don't have that. Thinking is missing. Students, teachers even sometimes don't think much on the subject. Even for research, you need to have a very sound and deep knowledge in your research area. Up to date you should be. And then for an outstanding researcher, besides what I have said, you need to be an out-of-box thinker. Coming out with new ideas, you should have an analytical mind. You should be innovative and creative. And these things don't one acquires overnight. No, one has to really work hard. And then 4 C's, they are must for research. 4 C's means curiosity, creativity, courage, and commitment. These are must for a researcher. And then both for an outstanding teacher or a researcher, you should have excellent communication and presentation skills. Excellent. This is a very big asset if you have these skills. Because, no one will really take the pains to listen to your ideas until and unless your communication is effective and impressive. Nobody will bother. Even in your class, when you go, you have to be really very good in your communication. What you really want to convey, it should be done very clearly. And you should make efforts if you are not. And please remember, all the great speakers were bad speakers at first. But then they worked hard and then they reached to the top. So this is even we can also do. So this was just a very brief introductory section. Now I come to part B, where I will talk about the challenges in the 21st century, which the teachers are going to face. See, the first challenge, which I think is those challenges are coming from information age. See, we are living in a digital age, mainly because of technological advancement. But this information age presents many challenges. One challenge is that this is an age of uncertainty with respect to jobs. There is a very famous The Future of Jobs report published by the World Economic Forum, which says that 65% of the children entering primary school right now, that means in 2019, will be working in jobs that don't even exist right now. That means we are not sure where our students will be employed tomorrow. Those jobs may not be existing. So there is uncertainty. Then this is an age of mass education, massification. All institutions are trying to increase the gross enrollment ratio. So this is an age where more and more students over the next 30 years will graduate than since the beginning of the recorded history. So what does it mean? More and more students will come out of colleges and universities. Traditional jobs are becoming less, takers would be many, so it would create a tough competition. So this is another challenge. And the third is, this is an age of artificial intelligence. This is an age where artificial intelligence will equal the intelligence of the students by the time they finish their formal education. So the question is, if I can have machines with the same intelligence as you, then why do I need you? And this is going to happen. This is already happening. Look at this. All those jobs which are of repetitive or predictable nature, which require no critical thinking, no critical analysis, no research base or no specialization, all these jobs are in danger. Either because of artificial intelligence, automation, or robotics. Look at the picture. This is the picture of the future. Humans working along with robots. That is why sometimes people say, even teaching job, if it is merely passing down the information, then even it could also be in danger, because robot teachers are also coming now. And Elon Musk very recently said that very soon AI systems will become smarter than the smartest human on the earth by this year or by next year. So you can very well see that these technological advancements are posing a challenge. And the challenge before the teachers is what to teach, how to teach, so that our children are successful in a future which is so uncertain. This is going to be a very big challenge for all of us. This is before us. What should we do? Second is sustainable development goal. This is another challenge. You all will agree that sustainable development is the burning issue in the world at present. Every nation is talking about that. Sustainable development means, sustainable means something which can be maintained for a long period of time, especially keeping in view the future generations. And development is always economic development. So there is a concern for sustainable development. And why there is a concern for sustainable development? Because, population is exploding. Currently, we have 8 billion people in the world. By the end of 2050, we will have 9.7 billion people. So this population explosion will lead to fast depletion of resources. There could be shortage of food, minerals, and other natural resources. Water scarcity is going to be another problem. We are going to have so many people facing acute water scarcity in the years to come. There is going to be a problem of environmental degradation, which is already there. Our environment is so much polluted. And then climate change, rising sea level and increase in atmospheric temperature. So all these are the issues of concern. These are the challenges which humanity is going to face. And here, education can play a very important role. That was the reason why United Nations gave 17 Sustainable Development Goals for achieving them by 2030. This agreement was signed, United Nations Agenda 2030, which was signed by 193 countries, including India. These are the 17 goals you can see on the right side. If you look at these goals, one is no poverty, then zero hunger, then good health, then quality education, then gender equality. All these are really the world problems. And it is now agreed that education can play a very important role. We are sometimes not able to solve these problems, or we are not able to achieve these goals because many people are not even aware of these goals. But United Nations never gave any roadmap because, the nature of the problem will vary from region to region. So you cannot give a solution which is universally applicable. So these 17 goals represent real world problems. They are very complex. And in order to solve them, you need knowledge of several different disciplines. Only then you can solve them. For example, look at climate change. If you want to approach the problem of climate change, you need knowledge of climatology, you may need knowledge of political science, economics, green technology, sociology, etc. All should work together. That is why, these days we talk about multidisciplinary education. The thinking behind multidisciplinary education is that it will allow students to gain a deeper understanding of any subject matter through the lens of different disciplines. They look at one problem through different disciplines. Different perspectives come to them. That is going to be the use of multidisciplinary education. Because normally we have knowledge of one discipline, and knowledge of one discipline cannot help you. And when this United Nations agreement was signed long back in 2015, our Prime Minister said, much of India's development agenda is mirrored in the Sustainable Development Goals. This is what our Prime Minister said. So what does it mean? That most of the policies of the government of India are aligned with these goals. Even the G20 meeting which we had last year, its agenda is also the same. It is aligned with this United Nations agenda for sustainable development. Because, these are the world problems. So everybody needs to work together. And one of the goal is, as I showed you, goal number 4 is quality education. This is one of the sustainable development goal. Quality education goal says what? Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So in this goal, these terms come: inclusive, equitable, quality, and lifelong learning. And this goal was given in 2015 when that agreement was signed. And our national education policy came in 2020. So if you go into the details, you will notice that the various provisions of NEP 2020 are basically based on this Sustainable Development Goal 4. Even NEP 2020 is aligned with this goal. Indirectly or directly, we are trying to achieve that goal of quality education. And now you must have seen it came very recently that National Institutional Ranking Framework from this year, sustainability has been introduced as one of the additional criteria. This is a step towards achieving sustainable development goal. Now, for all the institutions, when they go for NIRF ranking, sustainability of that institution or the campus will also be looked at. How green campus it is, so that people become aware of the goals. So you can very well see the importance of sustainability, sustainable development, and the role education can play. The third challenge, in my opinion, is as to what are going to be the 21st century learning needs. What a student should learn or what a teacher should teach, keeping in view the learning needs of the 21st century. That's a very big challenge for the educationists. What should we focus on? See, now it is widely believed that if you want to excel, you need at least two things. What are those? Rigorous academic content. You should be very good in the subject. Whatsoever discipline you are, you have to be very good. And second is 21st century skills. 21st century skills are, a set of abilities, a set of competencies, which each one of us should have if we want to succeed in this 21st century. And these 21st century skills are these. This is a very important slide. Please note it. They come under three categories, as you can see. Learning skills. We have critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, 4 C's. Then literacy skills. Information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, IMT. And third is life skills. And life skills is flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. See, if you very carefully examine them, these are 12 skills, which are called 21st century skills. These are going to be very important. And why so much focus? Because, you cannot have machines with these skills. You cannot have a machine which is critically thinking or which is creative or which is having leadership quality. You cannot have a machine like that. Then artificial intelligence also cannot replicate it. Only humans can have. Therefore, all those who will have these skills along with mastery over their subject. See, when I say you should have these skills, it means you should not know the meaning of these skills. You should be, because please remember, skills are practical. Knowledge is theoretical. You should be a critical thinker. You should be creative. You should be a leader, like having qualities like that. That is the meaning of skills. Therefore, quality education in the 21st century is this. This is the most important slide. This is the 21st century quality education. Focus on knowledge, disciplinary, interdisciplinary, and practical. Number 1. Number 2, 21st century skills, which I just told. Plus domain-specific skill. If you are in economics, some skills related to that, in chemistry or physics, like that. And third is your values, your attitude, your traits, your personality. See, these are the 3 things which you learn through education. So quality education need to focus on all that. See, when we were students, The focus was always on knowledge. Nobody talked much about skills or personality. They thought everybody will have some personality. And people often looked at personality like your looks. No, things have totally changed. And these three things taken together determine your competence in any profession. In any profession you may be, your competence will be determined by these three things. That is why, so many universities and colleges are now introducing many skill enhancement courses to strengthen second point, and then value added courses to strengthen third point. Basically, the thinking is that. So acquiring competence should be the goal of quality education. See, tomorrow, suppose you are an engineer, you need knowledge of a different type, skills of a different type, and personality. Good. If you are an IAS officer, you need knowledge, but maybe of a different type, skills and values, personality different. So ultimately, this is the summary. Quality education gives you these three things: knowledge, skills, personality, and they will determine your competence. Knowledge, skills, and personality, values, etc. may change, but ultimately, depending upon in what area you are, where you want to be competent, that will be determined by this. So this is a challenge. These are the learning needs now. This we should also have, and our students should also have. Don't think that your job is over just by teaching a subject. Now that is not required. Now what we teach is already available through so many sources. Tell me, what is the thing which we teach which is not immediately available online? The world is changing very fast. Therefore, these things you have to keep it in mind. Next comes the fourth challenge, in my opinion, is that we need creative and innovative minds in India. There is a shortage of creative and innovative. Rather, I would say there is a crisis of innovation and creativity in Indian education system. Look at this fact. No Indian scientist working in India has been able to get Nobel Prize since 1930. No Indian scientist has got. C.V. Raman was the last person when he got it in physics for the discovery of Raman effect. After that, nobody has got. In chemistry, nobody has ever got. These people did get Nobel Prize, but they were non-resident Indians. Even Amartya Sen, although he is an Indian, but for years he has been working abroad. Abhijit Banerjee is an American citizen. And please remember, Nobel Prize is not a lifetime achievement award. No. If you want to excel in research at that level, see, I happen to work for a long time with a Nobel laureate. I have seen how they work. These are the three things you need besides many others. You need enormous amount of creativity and open-mindedness. Then you should be always willing to collaborate. See, our education system tells that every other student is your competitor. It therefore becomes difficult to collaborate if that is our mindset. And then perseverance and resilience. Perseverance means you keep on pursuing your work. Setbacks will occur. Resilience, setbacks occur. You should bounce back. We sometimes want immediate gains. That may not be possible. I remember a Nobel Prize winner in chemistry getting Nobel Prize at the age of 97 years. So these things are often missing in our students. That is the reason why our ranking is poor. And one of the main reasons for poor world ranking of our institution is poor quality of research programs. And why we are not able to have good research programs? No, you never train your students for doing research. And sometimes if there are some good students, they don't come to research. There was a report which was presented in Rajya Sabha that the best of the science students, especially those from engineering, medicine, etc., they go to civil services, IAS, etc. So why we are lacking in quality research? Have you ever thought? Ultimately, it has to do with our education system. There is something fundamentally wrong in our education system. And that is, just watch this video.
For decades, people have been finding hundreds of flaws in the education system. No conceptual understanding, no creativity, children are stressed, and the list goes on. All these are symptoms. But what is the root cause to all this? What is the fundamental flaw in the education system? Let us play a rapid-fire game. You have 1 second to answer every question. Let's start. First question. A4? Okay, no more questions. Did you think apple first? 98% of people are most likely to think so. Because that was what we were told in our kindergarten. Imagine that this was done differently. Say we had asked you for all the words starting with A. Ant, ace, April, apt. Different answers would have popped out of everyone's head. Do you see where the problem is? Before children start going to school, every child is unique. Every child thinks different. But the education system makes every child think the same. This is the fundamental flaw in the education system. Why did this start? During the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, the education system was designed to make children ready to work in factories. The factories did not require people to think, but to only work like robots. So, the education system stripped children of their freedom to think and destroyed their true potential. The same education system continues even today. Only the industries have changed. A study by NASA shows that 98% of children think different before they start going to school. As they go through this education system, at 25 years of age, only 2% think different, and 98% think the same. So how does the education system make every child the same? Let's go back to the apple example. Kindergarten lessons told us that A is for apple. We asked you for words that start with A. Our education system gave us the answers. We asked you a question. Answers make you the same. Questions make you different. Right from kindergarten, the education system keeps giving answers. Instead of asking children how plants make food, the science teacher gives you the definition of photosynthesis. Instead of asking them to describe the sun, the teacher tells them that the sun is a ball of fire at the center of the solar system. Through their years in school, children lose the capability to think on their own. Whether it is their choice of career or their relationship or any situation in life, they become.
So you can see how our education system strip the children of their ability to think on their own. We always give them ready-made answers and then ask the same thing in examination. See, education is not the learning of the facts. It is the training of the mind to think, which is missing in the system. So, see, these are the things which we have to introspect, where we are going wrong. Nobody else will do it for us. And please remember, our education system in that way is outdated. Does not encourage thinking, innovation, and creativity amongst the students. And without creativity, there can be no progress. We would be forever repeating the same thing if you are not creative. What you will do? You will keep on repeating the same thing. Nothing new will come. So this is a challenge. So when I say our system is not encouraging thinking, innovation, and that means you will have to change your system of teaching. And now we will come to that. So the next challenge is going to be how to enhance the quality of higher education imparted in India. This could be now the next question. And in any education system, three things are very important. What do we teach? That is curriculum. Then how do we teach? That is the pedagogy, that is the art and science of teaching. And then how do we assess? That is the assessment part. And if you look at our current education system, we have 21st century students, but sometimes we teach them 19th century content. Our methods of teaching, our assessment methods, our courses architecture, all old 20th century. We have not changed. So that is the main problem. For example, look at curriculum. Curriculum means what? Curriculum means the total learning experience in any program. And the biggest challenge to curriculum comes from the growth of knowledge. See, the knowledge in all disciplines is growing very, very fast. So fast that the doubling time of the growth of knowledge has shrunk considerably. Shelf life of knowledge is becoming shorter day by day. See, there was a time when human knowledge was doubling in 150 years. Now human knowledge is doubling in almost 73 days. So what does it mean? It means that your curriculum becomes outdated as soon as it is created. Therefore, you have to keep it in mind that what you know in your discipline is merely a drop, and what you do not know is an ocean. And that is the reason why NEP 2020 also says we need to revise syllabi more frequently. We should have light syllabi. Why light? So that students have more time for thinking. See, outdated syllabi, they increase the gap between what is learned and what should be learned. And that is the reason why, we are not able to excel in research. This is one main reason. This affects the quality of research. One of the main reasons why we are the followers in most of the field and not leaders is outdated syllabi is one reason. You have never been exposed to new things. See, Professor C.N. Rao, Bharat Ratna scientist, he says that 90% of the universities in India have outdated curriculum. See, time has changed. Now is the time when we need to have skill-based and industry-led curriculum. World is shifting towards skill-based economy. More emphasis is going to be on practical knowledge and hands-on experience. See, skills are becoming more important than degrees now. Many big companies, they hire people if they have the skill set. They may not have degrees. Because degrees means what? That you have studied these subjects. Okay. But they want what you can do today. Skills are very important. And skills are now becoming so important in the world that it is now said, future belongs to those who learn more and more skills and combine them in creative ways. Second is the pedagogy. How do you teach? Pedagogy means art and science of teaching. We still have the traditional talk and chalk method of teaching, which is a teacher-centric approach. It is mainly a monologue method. Many complex concepts you cannot explain on the board. It presumes that all students learn in identical fashion. That is wrong. That may not be true. Some may be slow learners, some may be fast, some may be just average learners. You can't solve many problems in the class in this because you have to finish syllabus. And then it is slow and time consuming. These are some of the limitations of the talk and chalk method. And then in this method, focus is more on examination, rote learning, and scoring high marks. This has become our mindset. This is today's reality in every discipline. Look at this. Nobody wants to learn concepts. Everybody wants to score 90 plus marks. Mindset is like that. See, irony of our country is we focus more on well-filled mind. Fill the minds of the young people with more and more knowledge. But actually what we need is well-formed mind, which is the result of thinking, innovation, creativity, etc. And please remember, era of rote learning is over. Nobody bothers now. Real education is that which transforms the learners. Just as, a seed gets transformed to plant, plant gets transformed to tree, the same thing should happen with education. And therefore now, it is widely believed that learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of the learners. You should engage your students in various activities. And then the real learning will take place. So that is the reason why in today's world, shift is taking place from teacher-centric to learner-centric education. And what is the thinking behind learner-centric education? The thinking is that students will learn best when they are engrossed in the topic, motivated to seek out new knowledge and skills because they need them to solve the problems at hand. Give them a problem, let them think. Now, whatsoever knowledge they want, whatsoever information they want, there are so many online resources available. ICT helps us to so much extent. Experiential learning, for example, is a learner-centric education. Because you are doing it with your hands. So it is the experiential learning. And fostering experiential learning and critical thinking among students is an important objective of NEP 2020. So what I mean to say is, all this is to be done by the teachers. You have to shift from teacher-centric to learner-centric pedagogy. And learner-centric education, all these methods come. Learner-centric is not only one method. Problem-based learning, project-based learning, case studies, inquiry-based learning, flipped classroom, collaborative learning, TPS strategy, community outreach, travel, internship, research program, all come under learner-centric education. So teachers will have to change. This is a challenge. They will have to follow this. Although when you were students, you were never taught like that. But now for the sake of future generation, you will have to change yourself. And that is the challenge before you. And once you follow learner-centric education, even the roles of the learners will change. They will no longer remain just passive listeners or learners. They will become active, highly independent and creative thinkers because they will think on their own. Your role will also change. And if you look at these universities, Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, these are the leading universities of the world. In all of them, focus is more on case studies, experiential learning, project-based learning, problem-based learning, and very little focus on lecture-based learning. In our country, we still focus on lecture-based learning. Please remember, if we teach today's student as we taught yesterday's, we are going to rob them of tomorrow. We will have to change for the sake of our students. This was my article in Education Times of the Times of India, the creativity crisis in the Indian education system. This is about flipped classroom. And third part in education is how do we assess our students? Assessment. And NEP 2020 says we need to transform the culture of assessment in the country. Because, assessment drives learning. The way you will assess your students, student will start learning in that way. So that can be a very good way to enhance the quality of education in the country. Change the system of assessment. If you look at our examination system, it is still mainly rote based, mainly about textbook content. It will test the facts, definition, procedures which are given there. If anything comes outside the textbook, people say out of syllabus or protests start. Is that the purpose of education? Therefore, assessment process needs to be made more scientific to encourage multiple skills of the students. Analytical thinking, critical thinking, conceptual clarity, that is how we should test. For example, look at this. There is a revised Bloom's taxonomy which tells how cognitive learning takes place. Cognitive learning means when you learn or acquire new knowledge, that we say cognitive learning, mental level. And cognitive learning is a 6-level hierarchy. It means it starts from the bottom. Bottom is remembering, then understanding, then application, then analysis, and it goes up to creativity. So cognitive learning takes you from lower order thinking skill to higher order thinking skill. These are the 6 learning outcomes of cognitive learning. So if these are the 6 learning outcomes, then assessment should also test all the 6 outcomes. In our examination, the question paper which we set, generally they test remembering or understanding or something like application. Beyond that, we never go. So that is the problem. Therefore, you as teachers can play a very important role in assessment and evaluation. See, we have currently more than 4 crore students in higher education. They appear in various exams. You can change the nature of question. Your creativity, your skills, your competence matters a lot. And the next challenge, 6th challenge, which I think is all of you need to embrace technology and become tech savvy. This is another challenge for all of you. See, it is very difficult to imagine education without technology in the 21st century. This you will agree. Even NEP 2020 says that the relationship between technology and education at all levels is bidirectional. Look at this. Technology enhances the quality of education, and enhanced quality of education then further helps in improving the technology. So they feed on each other. And look at this, how technology has changed the way education is imparted now. All this happened during Corona times. Teaching learning has changed. E-learning, MOOCs are becoming very popular. Experimental work in many disciplines is done using virtual labs. Revision of syllabi can be done through email, discussion forum, video conferencing. For research, so many ICT tools have come, which have changed the way education is, the way the research is conducted now. Most of the exams are online, assessment is online, National Testing Agency has been created. Professional development of the teachers. Look at this, our program. This is online. And then so many ICT empowered pedagogies have come. So all this has happened through technology. And all this has been done by the teachers. So you also need to become tech savvy. So being tech savvy is no longer optional for you. Please remember it. It is essential. for providing high quality education, meeting the needs of the modern students, and preparing them for a technology driven world. It is a must. And then, over dependence, over reliance on technology is also harmful, because students are making excessive use of technology. Even for small things, they use technology. They have forgotten how to write with the hand. They even don't sign. Electronic signatures have come now. All this has impacted adversely, their creativity. And then technology is a journey, because technology keeps on changing. Artificial intelligence has now come, which is redefining the education in the world. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the way we teach, learn, and research. Nobody would have thought that 10 years back. What is happening now? So you should all become tech savvy. There is no doubt about that. But please remember, technology will never replace great teachers. But technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. You should be a great teacher. You should have a full mastery over the subject, and then should also become tech savvy. That combination can do wonders. This was my report in Times of India, that technology won't replace teachers. And then, the roles of the teachers are also changing. This is the 7th challenge. These are the roles which you would have never expected. New roles are coming. The roles of the teachers are going to change significantly in the 21st century. You will have to become tech-savvy teachers in ICT skills, AI skills, 21st century skills. If your students are enrolled in MOOCs, and if they have some queries, who will answer? You. So you must learn how to manage virtual classroom and discussion forum. You should also learn how to engage students by learner-centric pedagogy. So roles of the teachers are changing. See, there was a time when teacher was considered to be the only source of knowledge, but not now. Now there are multiple sources of knowledge. So teacher is like the facilitator of learning. So that is your new role. You should also be proficient in the development of e-content and MOOCs. See, so many MOOCs are there on Swime platform. Who has developed them? Teachers only. And for that, you need to be very good teacher, and you should have excellent writing skills. So your role is changing from knowledge giver to facilitators of learning. This is your role now. So ladies and gentlemen, to do all that, a change of mindset is required. Don't think that what I know is enough. You should learn more. There is a quote, birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. Change your mindset. And this regular empowerment, such types of talks, they put you on the right track. And now I come to the last challenge, which is little different from routine one, where I want you to have some personality development tips which can enhance your competence. See, I personally feel that this challenge is most important, but we never give due importance in our education system. And that is one reason why many of us suffer. See, I showed you this slide earlier. If you want to be a competent professional, you need to have good knowledge, you need to have good skills, and then your personality matters a lot. Personality is often ignored. And that is the reason why do we suffer. By personality, I mean a set of traits and behavior that characterize an individual. Your thinking, your mindset. Personality doesn't mean your looks only. And why personality is important? Look at this. 87% of all people fail not because of capability, but because of personality. And the worst part is they don't know that their personality is coming in the way of their job performance. That is the worst part. Therefore, personality, you will all agree, influences almost every aspect of human life. And therefore, I want to give you some personality development tips. They are like life lessons to enhance your competence. I still feel when I was a student or when I became lecturer, nobody told us these things. But now I give topmost preference to these. They will change your entire, the way you think as an individual. And there is a very famous quote, life can only be understood backwards, but then it has to be lived forwards. Look at this picture. The grand old lady telling little girl, life looks like an eternity, but actually it is just a short trip. We are all on a very short trip to this world. You don't know when the trip will be over. This is the reality. Therefore, you should learn the art of living. I would say most of the people in the world only exist. Living has become rare. And when I say the art of living, it means the capability to draw pleasure from life and to succeed in the greatest test called life. Life itself is a great test. At every step, you have to do something, this way or that way. So you should be successful in that. So what are the tips? Look at even that. This was the report which came in Indian Express. India is not that happy. India ranks 126 out of 143 nations in World Happiness Index. People are not happy. They are stressed, always thinking something, not able to pursue something, lack direction, all that, always worried about future. So the tips are, before I give, please remember this quote, you only live once. But if you do it right, I think one is more than enough. वो कहते हैं ना कि जिंदगी बहुत कुछ देकर भी किसी ना किसी चीज के लिए फकीर बनाए रखती है. Please remember, you will never be fully satisfied in life. Life is never fair. Don't expect life to be fair for you. So the first tip which I want you to, which I also learned very late in my life, was be proactive in life. Proactive means, everyone chooses how to approach life. If you are proactive, you focus on preparing. If you are reactive, you end up focusing on repairing. So proactive people will be able to take initiative. They will be able to make choices, and then they will be able to control outcomes. So being proactive always helps you. Think well in advance and act. Proactive people don't wait for the ship to come in. They swim out to it. That's the meaning. And then, you should all come out of your comfort zone. You are young people. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Many people are in comfort zone. Oh, I am getting a good salary. My husband or wife getting good salary. Children are well set. So it's okay. That sort of attitude is there. That puts you in a comfort zone. Because it's only after you have stepped out of your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. So please remember that. And then you should come out of comfort zone and then work hard sensibly. When I say, I know most of you must be very hardworking, but sensibly means Direction is more important than speed. Choose your direction very carefully. Most of the people lack this aspect. It's very unfortunate that people spend more time planning their vacation rather than planning their career. Of course, you are free to choose any direction, but then you will not be free from the consequences of your choice. You will have to face the consequences. Choose the right direction and then leave it. Because life is a process. No one rises suddenly in the world, not even the sun. Be persistent, have a never give up attitude, and then it's okay. Then self-belief is another trait you should have. Self-belief means, look at this. A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not in the branch but in her own wings. That sort of confidence you should have in yourself. Because millions of people may believe in you, and that none of it will matter if you don't believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you will see magic will start happening around you. And then self-discipline. This is a very, very important thing. This controls you. Self-discipline means mastery over your thoughts. If you are able to control what you think, you can always control what you do. See, we are always thinking something. So if you are able to control this can change your life. Because, there is nothing in this world that can trouble you more than your own thoughts. And we are always thinking. An average person thinks about 7,000 thoughts a day. Cages are not made of iron. They are made of thoughts. So if you can learn self-control, you can master anything. Start practicing it. This will change your life. And this will make you also mentally tough. Because sometimes you need to be mentally tough, especially in the face of adversity. So it will prepare you for that also. And then be positive and honest. This is for your own consumption. You don't need to announce to the world that you are very positive and honest. Nobody bothers. But you should have always positive thinking. Look at these 11 marks out of 10. Height of positivity. Positive thinkers will always have a solution for every problem. Negative thinkers will have a problem for every solution. And we meet such people in our day-to-day life. And always strive for excellence. To be good is no longer enough in the modern world. You should excel. A penguin can never be a giraffe, agreed, but then you should try to be the best penguin you can be. Excellence should be your key word. See, these are the lessons which can change your life. Then overcome the fear of failure. This is a common problem with many youngsters. Fear of failure. वो कहते हैं ना, see, this Bill Gates once said, if you are afraid of failure, then you don't deserve to be successful. और एक ये है, जब तक तुम डरते रहोगे, तुम्हारी जिंदगी के फैसले कोई और लेता रहेगा. Overcome this fear of failure. Failures can be the pillars of success depending on how you take them. Because your attitude towards failure determines your altitude after failure. And attitude depends upon what? Mindset. Mindset is self-control. So everything is linked. And then stop worrying and start living. This is a very common problem. Many people worry a lot. Just please remember, worry is a misuse of your imagination. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. That's why it is said, one day you will look back and realize that you worried too much about things that don't really matter. But by the time you will realize that time would have gone, you cannot undo that. So what's the use? So my advice to you is this slide. You worry only about the things which are in your control. And what is in your control? Your attitude, your effort, your focus. Don't worry about the things which are out of your control. What others will say, what will happen in future, what will be the opinion of others, what will be the outcome of. Oh, don't worry at all. This simple thing can change your life. And then take risks in life also. Sometimes you need to lose small battles in order to win the war. Take risk, be courageous. It is said you should create a sense of urgency in your life. What does it mean? For example, if you give yourself 30 days to clean your home, it will take you 30 days. But if you give yourself 3 hours, it will take you 3 hours. So the same thing will apply to your goal, ambitions, and potential. That is what I mean is work will expand according to the time available. The same thing applies to your goals, ambitions, and potential. You can create a new life for yourself by creating an urgency in your life. I have to set deadlines, fix them. This is very, very important. And then control anger. Of course, everybody gets angry. It's a normal emotion. But whenever you get angry, think of this slide. The fire of anger burns you first. So if you are prepared to burn yourself, okay, get angry. And psychology says that beneath anger, there is always some fear. Whenever you get angry, please remember it. There is some fear in your mind. That is the reason what makes you angry. And then time management is important. There is no doubt that time management is life management. See, if you are today 40-year-old, all 40-year-old people have got the same time. It's up to you how you use your time. And there comes again your mindset. There is a very famous quote of Amitabh. कल खो दिया आज के लिए, आज खो दिया कल के लिए, कभी जी ना सके हम आज के लिए, बीत रही है जिंदगी कल आज और कल के लिए. That's how the whole life will pass. Please remember, every day is once in a lifetime, and every day is the first day of the rest of your life. Think on those lines. Therefore, invest your time, don't spend it. Don't spend it. वो कहते हैं ना कि बंधी हैं हाथ पर सबके घड़ियां, मगर पकड़ में किसी के एक लम्हा भी नहीं. And time spares no one. This is a small song from Bollywood, but it conveys a lot. How time changes people. Look at this. Sorry.
समय की धारा में धारा में जाती थी वो घड़ी भी है
Just look at these people. They were so popular actors, and see how time changes. Especially look at this picture of Vinod Khanna. Just unbelievable. That's life. Time spares no one. That is why it is said, live in the moment. Because the present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments. Life becomes more meaningful when you realize the simple fact that you will never get the same moment twice. But people don't do. वो कहते हैं ना कि मैं कल को तलाशता रहा दिन भर और शाम होते होते मेरा आज भी चला गया. That is what it happens. And then never become arrogant in life. This is my another advice. Sometimes, a small success goes into a person's head and the person becomes arrogant. Never do that. Arrogance is the surest path to failure. और ये देखिए, ये कोट याद कर लिया करिए, कभी किसी चीज का घमंड आ जाए तो शमशान का एक चक्कर लगा आना, तुमसे बेहतरीन लोग वहां राख बने पड़े हैं. Remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. So keep this reality of life always in mind, then you will never become arrogant. This is fact, you have to remember that. So, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately, at the end of the day, your biggest competition, as you will see, what I have said is ultimately the competition is with you only. You have to win over yourself. You should become the master of your mind. You should not become the puppet of your mind. Be your own king. And you are a king if you know how to rule yourself. So learn how to rule yourself, and then your life will totally change. You don't have the problem. You are the problem. That's why it is said, स्वर्ग भी तू है, नर्क भी तू है, इन दोनों का फर्क भी तू. जिंदगी छोटी नहीं होती, लोग जीना ही देरी से शुरू करते हैं. वो जब तक रास्ते समझ में आते हैं तब तक लौटने का वक्त हो जाता है. That's why, this can change your life. And then please remember, it's never too late to be what you might have been. Follow these things. I assure you, your life will change. Not only personal, professional also. Challenges keep us fresh. See, there's a very famous quote: a ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. Similarly, humans are not designed to be happy in status quo. So continue to remain dissatisfied so that you can become better and better. Because challenges are what keep us fresh. This principle, you should have it in mind. Don't take every challenge as a problem, take every problem as a challenge. And these, as I said earlier, challenges are the doorways to excellence. They are the opportunities in disguise. It's up to you how you make use of the opportunities. The purpose of this talk was, what are the challenges before the teachers? I told you all the professional challenges, but personal life changes also challenges I also told. There's a very famous Chinese proverb, when the winds of change blow, some people build walls and others build windmills. It's up to you how you make use of the opportunities. So make the right use of the opportunities. Time will never come again. And why I think these things are very important at this stage, because realization comes to everybody in one's life, but generally by the time realization comes, it's too late. Then you start teaching your children. That's how the life goes on. As a matter of fact, these things should be told from the school level so that we are able to build strong personalities. And these are the lessons people learn too late in life. Everything is temporary in this world. Life is not fair. Beneath anger is always fear. Things don't matter that much. People matter. Once people leave your life, they create a vacuum, no doubt. A lifetime is never very long. Very soon it will be over. You played it too safe. You should also have taken risks. And life has no reset button. Live every day like it's your last day. One day you will be just a memory for some people. Do your best to be a good one. That's the message. And this is the last slide of my talk. जिंदगी के रंगमंच पर अपना किरदार इतनी शिद्दत से निभाएं कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती रहें, क्योंकि जिंदगी नहीं मिलेगी दोबारा. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. This is my email. This is my cell number. You can always be in touch. Give your feedback and all the best. Thank you very much.
Sir,
I'm not able to, still it
Yes,
is
sir.
sharing. Okay.
Sir. So is there any queries? Is anyone would like to discuss or ask any kind of queries?
Yeah, good evening,
Yes, ma'am.
everyone, and
Good evening.
welcome
Good
evening, ma'am.
to all.
Good
First of
evening,
all,
sir.
thanks, sir, for giving such a motivational session, I will say.
Thank you, Vimal. You are there.
So,
Okay.
not only in the professional front, but also in the personal front, you have given so many tips. I wish we could have got these tips right in our early stage of the career. Yeah, so. But anyhow, I am blessed because from more than a decade now, I am getting guidance from Professor Bakshi, sir, and all these centers we are taking in.
Vimal, why do you think you are old? You can take it is a still early stage.
Yeah, I have already started following, sir, your footsteps. Yeah. Thank you.
So each time we hear your talk, there are something new that we catch upon, and I always feel that yes, this is something which we should be following in our life. So many quotes of those kind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Maybe just one question we'll take, Sujan, and because today I have also to tell them the important information.
You have
because
to
we are starting.
introduce also, ma'am, about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
I think Dr. Amrita has
Dr.
raised her
Amrita,
hand.
yeah.
Hello,
Yes,
good
ma'am.
evening, madam. I have one query to sir. Sir, it was a very informative session. Sir, what are the challenge? Like, how exactly the research is contributing towards the attainment of professional attainment of NEP, sir?
You're talking about the research in your profession?
Research from Indian context, because we are doing because of academic commitments only. Like how exactly the quality research will shape the academic career of the students from NEP context, sir.
See, I would like to say only this much, that research is going to play a very important role in the years to come. The way the technological advancements are taking place, you all need to give more importance to research and to quality research. Unfortunately, in our country, that quality aspect is missing. We are giving more importance to quantity rather than to quality of the research. And that is the reason why we do that, because these are the requirements for your promotions, etc. And those research sometimes are of no use at all. Therefore, you need to do really excellent research. And what all you need to have for excellence in research are so many things. There also, these three things what I showed today, knowledge, skills, and personality matters if you want to become a competent researcher. Knowledge is one component which is missing in our young people. Because the research area in which you are doing research, you should be up to date. You should have a full knowledge of what is happening latest in your field. Then you should have done a lot of thinking on that research area. Because starting point for research is the research problem. Research problem comes out of thinking. Thinking will come if you are curious, you have read a lot, you have a vast knowledge, you can think of a new problem. That is actually missing in our, youngsters. So they have lot number of publications, but hardly of any great significance. So I can understand, and as you very rightly said, that besides your academic commitments, your teaching, your workload, you may not be getting enough time. But I would say a few research publications, but of quality, are more important than just having hundreds of papers without any really making much sense. That's what I would say.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Probably
sir.
a talk sometimes on I have a special talk on achieving excellence in research in India in the 21st century. Maybe if I get time, we will certainly have that talk. But that is there I talk so many things, but all that may not be possible right now. But doing research is very important. There is no doubt about it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, adding to this previous question, how far we can rely on AI usage, like technology usage, in order to carry out the research in an efficient way? How far we can rely on technology? Does relying more on technology affects the intellectual capability of individual?
No. Technology is to be taken as something to help you. Because
Yes, we can
technology,
leverage, sir. Yes, we
Pardon?
can leverage. It
You can.
affects the intellectual creativity if we completely rely on AI based tools.
No. Now, if you see in today's world, so many ICT tools have come which have totally changed the way research is conducted. You can do literature survey through such electronic databases. They are there. It will take you just a fraction of a second. For plagiarism, you can do. For data collection, you can do. So many ICT tools are there, and technology is only to help you. But the thinking has to be done by you. Which problem you should work on, in what direction you have to go, that should come out of your mind. Tools are
Yes,
there,
sir.
they can support, they can help, they can save your time. That is what technology does, because technology ultimately makes our lives easier and more convenient. And it will also help us in research. But there are certain things which technology will not be able to do, and that is the creativity will not come out of technology. AI also will not come out. It can give you some suggestions, but ultimately it's up to you to come out with that. Where are you from, Dr. Satik?
I am from Karnataka, sir, Ballari district. I am currently associated with a BITM college as an associate professor and academic coordinator for management department.
Which department you are? Management.
Management studies, MBA department, sir.
So, sir, today I will request that we can take these questions slightly on hold, because Dr. Satvik and others, we will be having ICT modules as well. So maybe you
Yes,
can keep
madam.
hold these
Sure,
questions.
madam.
And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
Many
and
of
very
these
happy to
things,
see that this batch is so interactive, that we are having so many questions. So please keep this on hold. And so very quickly, we can say a vote of thanks to Bakshi sir, and then I'll take it further.
Shall I, ma'am?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Sujan, please. Yeah.
So your insightful remarks have not only enlightened us, but also inspired us to think critically about the role of education in shaping our society. Your passion for the subject is truly contagious, and we are grateful for the wealth of knowledge you have shared with us. Please accept our sincere appreciation and gratitude for your valuable contribution to our understanding of this vital topic. We are honored to have had the opportunity to learn from you, and we look forward to applying your insights into our regular teaching, learning, and research field. And so, thank you once again for your thought provoking presentation and being with us today. We are looking forward to hear from you more insightful talk in the days to come. Have a nice, good evening, sir.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much,
thanks to
Bakshi sir,
all.
and to my very dear colleagues, and giving me such support, Professor Sarita Pasi and Professor Sujan, and many others. So let me just quickly do my responsibility also, where we'll have to apprise all our colleagues who have joined in this batch. So, dear colleagues, welcome to this another exciting batch. I think the 27th batch that we are starting today on NEP orientation and sensitization program, being conducted by UGC Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, it is UGC-MMTTC. We are also known as Guru Angad Dev Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, and formerly we were called as Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, because this center was initiated under the very prestigious Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme in 2016. This rename we have got since September 2023, and this is a center of now UGC and Ministry of Education under the flagship program Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program, situated at my own premier institution, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, a constituent college of University of Delhi. I welcome you on behalf of UGC-MMTTC, my college, and University of Delhi. And we seek blessings from Guru Angad Dev Ji, in whose name we have kept the center name, is the second of the 10 Sikh Gurus, and he was chosen none other than Guru Nanak Dev Ji to take the preachings to the world. And this particular batch, I am happy to share that we are doing it in collaboration with Prime Minister College of Excellence, Government Madhav Arts and Commerce College, Ujjain. And thanks to the entire team in the dynamic leadership of Dr. Kalpana Singh, who is the principal of this institution. And welcome to all dear colleagues who have joined in this very particular batch. At the national level, this scheme has been kept in the honor of Bharat Ratna Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Ji under the visionary leadership of our Prime Minister Modi Ji. So I welcome each one of you with a virtual bouquet of flower, especially starting with all the participants who are administrators, teachers, research scholars, and all others from higher education institutions of India. And I will also convey gratitude to my executive team, consisting of Padma Bhushan Sardar Talochan Singh sir, who is the chairman governing body STTB Khalsa College, and Professor Gurmohinder Singh, who is the principal STTB Khalsa College, for providing me all the support to take these centers to such a height where now we have touched more than 1 lakh teachers across the country. And it is not possible without the administrative support that I am getting from these. Along with that, I am also thankful to Professor Bakshi and Professor Ved Prakash sir, who are our mentors and continuously guiding us to how these programs should be designed so that the qualitative enhancement can be done in each and every classroom of higher education through this scheme. I'm also thankful to entire organizing team consisting of Professor Sarita Pasi from Zakir Hussain Delhi College, Professor Sujan Varghese from St. John's College, Agra, Dr. Shikhar Kumar from Sri Aurobindo College, Professor Shubham Kumbari from PM College of Excellence, Madhav Arts and Commerce College, Ujjain, and from the same collaborating institution, we also have Dr. Dinesh Verma. And we also have Dr. Aarti from Viva College of Arts and Commerce and Science. And yes, all of you can be in the organizing committee because we keep on conducting so many programs. So we keep on looking for volunteers who can help us take it to each and every classroom of our country. At GAD-TLC or UGC-MMTTC, we have the state-of-art training facilities prepared under this scheme. And we also had a very fruitful journey as a team at the national level at Center for E-Learning when we started a unique initiative of creating our own studio, introducing the virtual type of videos which were very first in higher education space. We have successfully completed preparation of more than 89 courses in e-content under the EPG Pathshala project for these 6 subjects and prepared more than 50 MOOCs for the SWAYAM portal for Government of India, out of which 42 MOOCs at the PG level from EPG Pathshala project that we prepared were actually out of the total 63 PG level MOOCs when they were launched in 2015, 42 contribution has been from our center. Myself, I have conceptualized this teachers e-kit where more than 2,000 teachers are participating and they are preparing open educational resources. So in my session, I'll also tell you that how you can also contribute. So not only the research, you can make a meaningful contribution in preparing the other teachers through this teachers e-kit concept. Since 1st April 2020, we have gone online due to Corona. And this is the phase which was more challenging for us because the ministry funding, which was from 2016 to March 2020, was stopped due to Corona. And we were told that if you can continue with the sustainable mode, and that's the area where we felt that teachers need so much hand-holding in these technology, which is our expertise. We evolved the online FDPs, which later on, I'm actually also a member of this entire UGC-MMTTC scheme. There is a committee at UGC who has made the guidelines, and continuously we see that how it can be further improved upon. So the online FDPs, which are now a very normal thing, let me tell you, we evolved as one of the leading center, and I'm happy to share that not only in that, but with the support of University of Delhi, we have also conducted the skill enhancement courses FDP. When NEP 2020 was launched, there was a challenge that how the teachers need to be upgrading their knowledge and other skills around the skill courses which are newly introduced. So with the help of industry and with the help of academic community, now I am happy to share that more than 45 FDPs we have completed in this banner with the help of University of Delhi. I'm thankful to Professor Yogesh Singh, who is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of DU, and Professor Payal Magu, who is the chairperson of the Skill Enhancements Committee. And we also have as a team work for, especially for my chemistry colleagues, I'm sure many chemistry colleagues are also there because myself, Professor Bakshi and Professor Ved Prakash, we are from chemistry domain. Professor Ved Prakash sir is not from so much because he diversified into education, but and then Professor Sarita Pasi, Professor Sujan, we have so many chemists actually around. So we have also conducted ARPIT program in chemistry in 2018, 19, 20, which is pre-corona. This was the first experiment by Government of India on making the online refresher course. And I'm happy to share that out of 42 in 2020, the statistic goes that our number of enrollments as well as the quality of the content was rated best out of all the subjects. And because of this massive ground level continuous contribution that our team has been doing through various projects, GAD-TLC was selected as one of the 45 centers. Yes, out of around 9,900 centers, 45 centers were selected. And we are now awarded as Malviya Mission Center. And the mandate is to conduct NEP trainings for 15 lakh higher education teachers. And all of you should be now aware about the new nomenclature that the earlier UGC HRDCs, which were prior to that called as academic staff colleges associated with various universities, they had the mandate of conducting training programs in the name of orientation, refresher, and other programs. In 2014-15, the PMMM NMTT scheme was introduced, and around 9,900 centers were given the proposal because the type of programs which need to be done for quality enhancement. So different project proposals were asked, and we were the very first college who was given this particular scheme center as TLC. And now, since 5th September 2023, these both have been combined, all 67 UGC HRDCs and the selected few of PMMT, and all of them are called as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center. And henceforth, any promotional requirement as per the CAS, and I think all of you must have also read, if not, please see the draft regulations which are circulating since yesterday, which will be the CAS 2025, which will be setting the pace that where the importance is not only on the research, but the other components also where the teachers can contribute, and we all have to be preparing ourselves. So we will be planning some FDPs into these areas regulation. So the vision of this new scheme in a new package is to build competencies in the faculty for better teaching, learning, and research by exposing them to Indian values, updating knowledge and skills, and aligning teaching, learning, and research with the needs of the society and NEP 2020. And till date, now there are 116 such centers in which we are in the leading centers, where we have the mandate of conducting 2 NEP programs every month. We have 2 faculty induction program, 1 residential, 1 online. We are launching it on 13th January, the hybrid mode. We also keep on conducting various FDPs, both online as well as offline. And we also have the mandate of conducting refresher programs, and they are mostly focused on some particular subject area. Professor Sujan, if Dr. Kalpana has joined, can we just explore? Meanwhile,
Yes,
I go
yes,
for
ma'am.
further.
I'll just,
We can request
I'll just.
Madam also to say. So in this NEP program, these are the 10 modules. Initially, the scheme started with 8 modules. The module 9th and 10th was developed, introduced later on, based on various inputs coming from ministry and other stakeholders as well. And all these will be covered in 8 days. There will be 16 sessions, so 2 sessions every day. And you'll find that somewhere we'll have 1 session, somewhere we'll have 2 or 3, depending upon the weightage that we want to give as per our expertise.
She has, Dr. Kalpana has not joined with her name
joined
unless
it.
she's joined from some other name.
Okay,
I
maybe
think
Yes.
the organizing team members from the college, if whenever she joins you, please let us know.
please let us know. Yeah, maybe we can request
Yes.
her to say a few words. So we will be having this information is there in your WhatsApp group as well. So there will be 8 days, which will be 7th, that is today, 8, 9, 10. Then we will have it on 14, 15, 16, then 17. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will be off. On the basis for what is the completion parameter, first of all, the attendance is not through any link. Attendance will be taken live on the Zoom. So when you log in, please ensure that it has to be logged in either with your registered email ID or phone number. And if you by chance join with some other device, please rename yourself with the complete registered name. So these are the only 3 things, and automatically at backend as admin, we will take the attendance, that how much duration you have been there. So out of 3 hours, at least 80% login, we will be looking forward to your enrollment. And also you have to attend this with your videos on. So requesting all, please put your videos on, and that's how, as per the guidelines, the attendance will be taken. Apart from that, you will be given 2 online quizzes having 40 MCQ each, and they will be based on these 5 modules each. The quiz 1 based on module 1 to 4 and 9th. The quiz 2 will be based on module 5 to 8 and module 10. So this is how the, but anyhow, both these quizzes will be giving it on a Sunday. So that will be when you are completing, let me tell you the exact date also. So 19th January, which is Sunday, from any time from 10 a.m. till 11 p.m. you can attempt these quizzes. The link will be shared on that very day only. Fine. So they will be strictly based on the session. It's not that we just go by the title and we'll ask anything. No, whatever the speakers are saying, it will be around those only. There will be 16 feedbacks for every session. Fine. So every session there will be 1 feedback. Overall, there will be 16 feedback forms which you have to fill. And please keep your pen and paper ready, where you keep on making notes for the quiz, as well as we will be asking you 3 takeaways where those 20 marks will be analyzed from that. And there will be one overall feedback form. So you have to fill all these 17 feedback forms to ensure your active participation. And let me repeat, no certificate will be provided just for the attendance because we are not taking any duty leave. Only those who will be completing, then the certificate will be provided to you for the successful completion. And this is how the template of the certificate will look like. Your name, institution name, and all. No grading will be given because it was consciously decided in our meeting that we want all the senior colleagues, everyone to be participating in this. So unlike other FDPs where the grade is important, there is no grading in this. But yes, let me tell you that this will be equivalent to 1 week FDP. So although it is not under those, usually 1 week FDP is a 6-day full program with 36 hours. But here, this being a special program is considered equivalent to 1 week FDP as per the CAS promotional requirement. So some of you who are waiting for your next level, that can be counted as one. But I will say, just don't look at these counting. You should be continuously updating your knowledge. And before I invite, has Professor Ved Prakash sir joined? Sujan, can you help me out? One more very important information I will like to give you is that the copyright of every session will be of the respective speaker. The center has no role in that. And please, the digital things allow you to take the screenshots, capture the video, or publish it in any other form. You are not allowed to do so without the prior written consent of the respective speaker. There may be so many ideas coming up. I have seen that many times they will be coming out with some paper and all. That will be the infringement of the copyright issue. At the same time, I will also put the equal responsibility on the speaker that if there is some insensitive or incorrect information provided, the onus lies entirely on the respective speaker. So center has no role in that. So these disclaimers I will like to put into your context. So once again, welcome here, and let me just see if Professor Ved Prakash sir has joined. Dr. Gitanjali, hope you are in WhatsApp. We will be putting the criteria.
Ma'am, sir has not joined it.
No, I think sir has joined just now.
I'm there. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
sir. Okay, so
Good morning,
evening,
sir, and welcome, please, to
Good
this
morning. Yeah.
new batch of NEP. And
Good morning, sir, for you. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Good morning.
we have Sarita Pasi as well. Yeah. So let us take the proceedings further. And the next session now we are going to have is with another renowned academician, rather stalwarts in higher education, I will say that, who has spearheaded entire University Grants Commission for almost 15 years. Although he doesn't need any introduction, but sir, please permit me, for the sake of motivating our younger colleagues, that what all different routes one academician can actually navigate and go to different places like you have done. So very quickly, I will like to share his academic journey, and in a very brief way, although it is एक इसी के ऊपर आई थिंक बख्शी सर की और वेद प्रकाश सर की तो एक बुक ही लिख दी जाएगी where we can all get inspiration. So Professor Ved Prakash sir, who is a well-known name in Indian academia, has the unique distinction of spearheading the University Grants Commission, which is the apex regulator of higher education in India in all the three top positions, I'll say, as he started as secretary, then vice chairman, and then as chairman. So almost around 15 years of span in this administrative role. Under his stewardship, UGC made significant strides in the areas of curricular reforms, internationalization. In curriculum reform, I like to mention the CBCS, the entire designing was done when he was at the chair. And also in basic scientific research, internationalization, skill education, gender and social equity in higher education, to name a few. And many of you are already familiar that now the skill is coming into so much limelight. The BVOC and MVOC courses were introduced under the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Kaushal Kendra again in his stewardship. In his, he has also credit of transforming NIPA, which is the National Institute of Education Planning and Administration, into a university, where he also served as its founder vice chancellor. And in his stellar career of more than 48 years now, he has made seminal contribution as advisor education in Planning Commission of India, chairman for National Council for Teacher Education. Especially, he also has worked as professor and head in NCRT and Joint Director Staff Selection Commission, Government of India. And when with interactions with sir, I came to know that he was also instrumental in training teachers in very early stage of his career when he introduced this National Talent Search Examination, at how the item creation, questions of higher order thinking skills can be prepared. As US Fulbright scholar, Professor Ved Prakash has been visiting faculty at University of Windsor, Canada, a guest faculty HIID, Harvard University, and also consultant to World Bank. He is also distinction of being an interlocutor under the prestigious US International Visitor Leadership Program, and also serving as a member of jury for UNESCO EPID Venhui Award for Educational Innovation for 10 long years. And he has visited more than 30 foreign countries in unilateral and multilateral forums representing India. And he has no doubt published very extensively, not only in higher education and policy making, but also into the school education. So I think this is a very unique combination, knowing the school education as well as higher education, and also into policy making, educational planning and administration. And he has been awarded with many coveted awards. I welcome you, sir. And one more thing I will like to share, that he is also now motivating the younger student, especially from rural backgrounds, for making early goal settings, that how they can be prepared for better life through the educational possibilities that can be offered to them and preparing. So thank you so much, sir, for guiding the entire team here, as well as the all teachers who have joined. I'm sure they are going to learn a great deal from you. So welcome, and over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Professor Vimal, for such a lengthy introduction, which is not very desirable. We all are learning at every phase of our life, because education is such a subject that it has continued to evolve and extended its reach since the existence of the humanity. And higher education, I mean, or for that matter, education being a lifelong endeavor, must be a continuous process of self-discovery. I was listening to Professor Vimal when she was sharing with you the benefits of this faculty development program. I will like to say you or share with you that you should not consider it a program for the purposes of the career advancement scheme. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to know what is happening around you, how different countries are shaping up their higher education system. Where do we stand? What are the takeaways for us? And how should we steer ourselves as individual member of this distinguished profession? And what direction shall we provide to higher education wherever we work, whether we work in a college or in a university? And how can we take the present reforms forward because as a result of the National Education Policy 2020, we are expected to introduce certain reforms. So how are we going to steer them? And what kind of role can we visualize for ourselves in the implementation of those reforms or in the translation of the intents of the National Education Policy 2020? I personally consider this a very good initiative by the Ministry of Education. To provide the orientation to the fellow teachers. You will have a wonderful opportunity to listen to different speakers. You will also have a wonderful opportunity to learn a great deal by sharing your thoughts and ideas on higher education. And let me tell you that there are about more than 100 centers, I think, which are organizing these orientation programs. This center is with a difference. And the difference is because I'm invited by other fellow colleagues from the other centers. I find that this center receives a greater number of applications. And the reason for that is that Professor Bimal takes lots of pain, actually. I admire her power of persuasion, actually. She mobilizes people from different areas of study. And as a result of which this center is providing better inputs to the participants, and which is why the number is always overwhelming. I was given to understand that many a time she is not able to, accommodate all the prospective participants, and she keeps them on the reserve list.
Sir, that is
Why
also
I'm
because of the
telling
speakers
you
like
this is
you and
that
Patel.
it is because of her initiative and her fellow colleagues like Professor Susan, Professor Bakshi, Professor Sarita Pasi, Arun, and many more. So you should be very, very attentive in these programs so that you can derive the maximum benefit out of these interactions. In today's talk, what I propose to do is that I am going to highlight the significance of higher education. I will be talking to you about the role of society in education by and large at the global level. And I will also be sharing with you the international trends, how different economies are taking forward the reform measures in their own way. Some countries are dominating the world scenario. Some are still struggling insofar as the access is concerned, equity is concerned, gender participation is concerned, quality is concerned, research is concerned. But every single country is making maximum efforts to bring about qualitative improvement in their higher education system, because they have realized that they cannot progress without improving the quality of higher education. Higher education is so very critical for the economic development, for the social development of the country. Higher education today is no longer a personal call or a privilege. It is a social demand now. I think we all must appreciate that. We cannot progress without increasing the number of educated and skilled people, nor we can progress without expanding the frontiers of knowledge through research and innovation. Let us know that very clearly. Our leaders of freedom movement era were fully aware of the significance of education. And in fact, if you look into those discourses, the discourses during the freedom struggle movement, education, equality, and social justice were the main subjects of discourse during our freedom struggle. These subjects somehow after independence have not attracted desirable attention. And what are the consequences for that? As a result of that, we continue to live in a highly stratified society wherein the chances of individuals' mobility are very narrow and restricted. And such a situation is neither good from economic perspective nor from political perspective. I hope that this is that we understand this very well as citizens of the country. We suffer from, we still actually, I mean, after 77 long decades of, over 7 decades of independence, we still suffer from hierarchical values and attitudes, which are very deeply entrenched in our society. These things are continuing because we suffer from two contrastive perspectives. One is the fatalistic perspective where people think that nothing is going to change and things will continue to be the same as they have always been. There is another perspective that we call utopian perspective, where people think that any desirable state of affairs can be brought into, provided people with good intentions, mark my words, provided people with good intentions and necessary goodwill are prepared to bring it into being. And interestingly, I mean, these fatalistic and utopian orientations are not characteristics of two distinct and separate sets of persons. They are often found in alternate phases in one and the same individual. The crisis of deepening stratification of society was also foreseen by the Education Commission in 1966. And the commission, I mean, which we call Kothari Commission, the commission in its report had expressed a fundamental concern for education as a process of social transformation aimed at bridging up the gap between the classes and the masses. The commission had envisaged the social function of education in the context of nation building for forging unity in diversity, keeping the character of the country in mind, and for building a shared citizenship for a democratic, social, secular, and egalitarian society. But now the question arises, excuse me, as to what have we done in the last 77 long years? We have traversed a long distance. We have established a very gigantic system of education, both at school and higher education levels. But much leaves to be desired when it comes to the quality of education. Globally, I mean, it is acknowledged that the process of education should be such that it not only frees us from the shackles of ignorance, but also from all kinds of prejudices, expectations, and unfounded beliefs. And if they are not addressed through education, then something is seriously wrong with the system that we have been following. Education, being a lifelong endeavor, must be a process of self-discovery. In fact, civilization depends upon what happens on the campuses of the higher educational institutions. We must make sincere efforts to embrace a right kind of education which ensures equality of educational opportunity. There is an educationist, Whitehead, who had said, and I quote, that a progressive society depends upon scholars, discoverers, and inventors. And in the same quote, he has also said that it is the responsibility of the higher education system to prepare all the three. I mean, This highlights the sheer centrality of the significance of higher education. Society has played a very prominent role in education from early times to date. Most of the leading institutions of the world are the creation of the society. Globally, the society is known to have contributed in various ways. There was a time in early periods when education was confined to teaching of languages, religions, and preservation of intangible assets of the nation state. For the first time, the world leaders had expressed the societal aspirations insofar as education is concerned after World War I. The world leaders had assembled in the city of Geneva in 1924, wherein they adopted a number of resolutions. Of them, one resolution which was very pertinent has 3 assertions. I would like to quote those assertions. It says, and I quote, that the children must be provided the tools for their natural development. Those who are backward must be supported by the nation states, and that the children must be placed in a position wherefrom they can make a decent living and contribute to the creation of a civil society. Unquote. Not much had happened because the world was not all that resourceful at that point in time. And secondly, the world was again pushed into World War II in 1939. After World War II, actually, in 1948, again the world leaders came together on a common platform, and this time in the city of Paris in 1948, and they brought out the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, where, that was a historic moment when, keeping in mind the societal aspirations, all the countries agreed on the freedom and equality, protecting the rights of every individuals everywhere on the planet. The declaration, you can Google that declaration, you would find that there are, it outlines about 30 rights and freedoms that belong to all of us. Article 26 has 3 parts. Part 1 relates to education, Part 2 relates to values, and Part 3 relates to parental guidance. I will focus only on Part 1 because of the paucity of time. You can Google and you can see it for yourselves. Part 1 has 5 assertions, and I would like to quote so that you can know, the resolution, the sense of that resolution, actually. It says, and I quote, that everyone has the right to education. Number 2, education shall be free at least in the elementary or the fundamental stage. Number 3, elementary education or fundamental stage of education shall be made compulsory. And education shall be made available free of charge at that stage. Technical and professional education shall be made generally available to all. And the 5th is that higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. If we carry out the dispassionate analysis of the education system of the developed economies, we can see a common pattern. And what is that common pattern? That they seem to have evolved their education system around those 5 stipulations of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They all have universalized their school education. They have created outstanding system of technical and professional education. And when it comes to higher education, they have ensured that merit takes precedence over everything else insofar as higher education is concerned. But if we carry out our own, analysis of our own system, honestly, we find that we have been still struggling with the universalization of elementary education, let alone 12-year school education. Every class happens to be a terminal class in our country. We have not been able to provide technical and professional education to the eligible population, despite, crying hoarse that we have the demographic, we can take the advantage of the demographic dividend, actually. And our higher education hardly comes into the reckoning at the global level. This is the reality. Now, we have to struggle. We have to tighten our belt, and we have to improve, the existing conditions insofar as school education and higher education is concerned. UNESCO has been championing the right to education at all levels, including higher education. In fact, UNESCO believes that tuition-free public higher education is an important step in this direction. Free access to quality higher education for all appears imminent to realizing the Sustainable Development Goal number 4 by 2030, that is the call given by the UNESCO. UNESCO argues that the removal of tuition fees in higher education increases both the social demand and it also increases the educational attainments. UNESCO has carried out a survey of about 446 member states. And that survey reveals that there are about 41 countries which have already mandated free higher education by law. They have realized that it not only increases the social demand, but it also improves the educational attainments. And if it gives dual benefits, why should we not do that? So they have done it. If you see the income group analysis of the countries, you find that out of those 46 countries, there are, about 11 or 12 countries which are low income and lower middle income countries which have mandated free higher education. Despite being low income and lower middle income, they have mandated free higher education by law. I believe that the removal of tuition fees in higher education, which is not going to happen in our country now because of the massive privatization that has happened in the last 3 decades. But if we subsidize higher education for those who find it difficult from the economic point of view, I think it can prove to be more effective in our country. For long, if you see, we have had a policy of providing higher education either through public institutions or through grant in aid institutions. Such institutions were not motivated to make a profit, and thus with the government support, those institutions provided higher education at a very affordable cost for nearly half a century after independence. We all are the beneficiaries of that. Centrally funded higher educational institutions are still providing free higher education to some select group of students like scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and OBCs. Some states are also providing free higher education up to the postgraduate level for girls and socially deprived sections of their domicile. The situation in our country, you all know that it had changed since 1990s with the LPG, what is LPG? LPG is the liberalization, privatization, and globalization. But this has led to slow and steady withdrawal of the state, both, I mean, the central government as well as the provincial governments from higher education, which has led to rapid rise in high fee charging higher educational institutions. Though this process had started with professional, technical, and medical education, but it soon engulfed all kinds and all types of higher education. The trend now manifests in public higher educational institutions also. Public higher educational institutions are also offering programs in the name of self-financing programs, which are more expensive than the other programs. I mean, in a nutshell, I would like to say that cost recovery in higher education has now become a norm, then an exception because of the withdrawal of the state support. So this is one, takeaway. We need to take cognizance of this aspect, and we must come up with appropriate measures so that we can increase the participation rates of different social groups and gender in higher education. Let us look at the growth of higher education. I mean, the global data shows that the past decade has seen a significant growth in enrollment, although millions of children, in the age group of 18 to 23 in some countries and 18 to 24 in other countries, I mean, they are still not having access to higher education. Enrollment, of course, has increased in all groupings, but at a different rates. If you see the growth of enrollment in higher education in our country, we find that the enrollment has increased among all the sections of the society, the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs. At the global level, it is estimated that there are about 235 million students enrolled in higher education, which means more than 23 crore youth are enrolled in higher education. Globally, I mean, the gross enrollment ratio in higher education in the last 2 decades has increased from 19% to 40%. There are about 88,000 higher educational institutions in the world. Of them, we have the largest number of higher educational institutions in our country. In the name of colleges, standalone institutions and universities and institutions of national importance. We have about 56,000 higher educational institutions. No other country has those many higher educational institutions as we have. The second number comes to United States of America, which has about 4,000 higher educational institutions. Then comes China at number 3, which has about 3,000 higher educational institutions. Then comes Russia. All other countries are very small systems like UK and Australia and Canada, etc. If we look at the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, which tells us that out of 100 students, children in the age cohort of 18 to 24 are enrolled in higher educational institutions, we find that while the world average is 40%, the gross enrollment ratio of higher education in India is 28%. I mean, if you look at the latest survey of higher education, which the Ministry of Education brings about, it is 28.4% or 28.5% perhaps. But there are countries in the world wherein the gross enrollment ratio in higher education is as high as 85%. You see some of these Scandinavian countries, you see United States of America, Russia, you see OECD countries. China has made tremendous progress in the recent past. I mean, they were crawling about 2 decades ago insofar as gross enrollment ratio in higher education is concerned, but now they have touched 60% mark. insofar as the gross enrollment ratio in higher education is concerned. So the takeaway for us is that we have to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education. This is what we have said in the National Education Policy 2020, that by 2035, we would be touching 50% gross enrollment ratio in higher education. We can do it, provided we do the following. Number one, we use the residual capacity of existing higher educational institutions, means by way of increasing the intake capacity of our existing institutions. Number two, we can, provided we set up newer institutions in areas where institutional density per 100,000 population is very, very low. I mean, there are pockets in our countries like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar, some part of West Bengal, wherein the institutional density per 100,000 population is abysmally low. And the third thing is that with the onset of the information and communication technological tools, if we can have a fusion of the conventional mode of delivery with the open and distance learning mode of delivery and with the online mode of delivery, we can certainly achieve this goal. But remember that if you do, I mean, in-depth analysis, you will realize that we will have to grow at an annual growth rate of 4.2%. Only then we can realize the goal of attaining 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. This is the another takeaway from this analysis. We have another serious issue in higher education, and that is about the gender equality. Globally, access to higher education has increased at a faster pace among women than men in the last 2.5 decades. The gross enrollment ratio among women at the global level has increased from 19% to 43% among women, as compared to men from 19% to 37%. But the women's participation in STEM subjects remain 18 percentage point lesser in women than men. In our country, we are witnessing almost similar trends. The participation rates of girls has increased. In fact, if you look at the gross enrollment ratio in higher education in our country, we find that the gross enrollment ratio of girls in higher education is 0.1% higher than that of boys. It's 28.5% as against 28.4% of boys. There are states like the state of Tamil Nadu, wherein the girls have outpaced the participation rate of boys. Similarly, I mean, the state of Punjab also. In Punjab, I was looking into the figures and I found out that the gross enrollment ratio of girls in higher education in Punjab is more than 30%, I think 30.6 or 30.5%. Whereas the participation rate of boys is only 25%. But like at the global level, we also find that the gender gaps continue to exist, both in countries' top institutions and in the STEM disciplines. If you see the participation rates of girls in premier institutions like IITs and ICERs and IAMS, you will find their participation rate is much lesser than the participation rates of boys. Similarly, in the STEM disciplines, in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects. And these gender gaps are more pronounced in rural areas. There are persistent challenges of access and equity that needs to be addressed to achieve parity insofar as the gender inequalities are concerned. So this is another takeaway for us. The Another serious issue is the inequality in groups with disabilities. We all know that education of persons with disability is hindered by multiple factors. It could be hindered because of the physical accessibility, limitations in teaching learning material. It could be because of financial restrictions, and it could also be because of prejudices and discrimination that we see in the society. The World Health Organization data reveals that there are about 1.3 billion people in the world having some form of disability. And we have the responsibility of creating an inclusive society, integrating, the children with physical disabilities. Globally, the participation of persons with disability in higher education is only 20% as against 40% the average participation rate, which means that it is half as low as those without disabilities. But leading countries of the world, they have taken appropriate measures and they have ensured greater integration of children with physical disabilities in education at all levels. If you look at the children holding bachelor's degree, children with physical disabilities having a bachelor's degree, you find that in countries like United States of America and Great Britain, about 20% children are holding bachelor's degree with physical disabilities. But in our country, as against US and UK, only 6% disabled boys and 3% disabled girls hold bachelor's degree. And this is primarily due to poorer transition rates of disabled children from secondary sector to post-secondary sector. And therefore, the takeaway for us is that we need to make appropriate interventions at the school stage. We need to make appropriate interventions insofar as the access to higher educational institution is concerned in terms of the ramp or other physical facilities are concerned, and also in terms of overcoming the discrimination that are inflicted on the children with physical disabilities. We need to pay greater attention on these parameters with a view to increasing the participation rates of children with physical disabilities in higher education. The another challenge which we are facing is about the skilling gaps in education, actually. We all know that the fourth industrial revolution, impelled by the rapid advances of the artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, and other emerging technologies, have created skill gaps across all industries. And as technology advances, education system in the leading countries are metamorphosing, anticipating, and preparing for the impact of digital revolution on the workforce. And for this reason, leading countries have been reimagining their curricular provisions and degree programs to meet the needs of the modern societies. This has brought the competency-based education into greater focus. This number, this is a very serious problem with us. We have been talking about for long that we are the youngest country in the world. But when it comes to the skilled workforce, we find that there is a huge mismatch between what we prepare and what we need. Leading universities of the world are coming up with tailor-made programs for the students. Skilling has not been a success story in our country despite its relevance and greater demand. And the reasons for its failure are many. It could be because of the poor status perception, because of ill-equipped institutions, because of the non-availability of teaching learning material in regional languages, And because of the inadequate preparations of teachers, we have been thinking that the regular teachers would be able to handle the skilling programs, which has not happened in the past. The national education policy has given us a new hope. I mean, we have been talking about it for long. I will talk on this subject in my another lecture. But policy has recommended that by 2025, at least 50% students, both in school and higher education, would be given the exposure to vocational programs. We have already entered into 2025, but we have not adequately empowered our institutions for offering the skilling programs. So another takeaway for us is that we need to focus on this aspect so that we can prepare the children for tomorrow's world. And the tomorrow's world is going to accord greater importance to the skills and competencies. The another important subject in higher education is about the interdisciplinary teaching and learning. For long, we have been listening about it. We know the advantage, the benefits that it provides. Interdisciplinary approach of teaching and learning has gained a lot of momentum in the Western world several decades ago, but we have not been able to switch over to interdisciplinary teaching and learning. I mean, though there are challenges in its implementation, I'm not denying that, but it is considered a worthwhile endeavor. It requires dismantling of boundaries across the discipline. That is what was said by Professor Yashpal Kameti in 2010. It involves integrating multiple disciplines to provide a more comprehensive understanding of complex topic. This approach encourages students to draw connections between subjects, fostering a more holistic and nuanced perspective. It also inculcates and promotes generic abilities amongst the students, which are usually lacking. I mean, all the leading universities of the world are developing thematic units, designing, integrating integrated curriculum. They are switching over to project-based teaching and learning. They are organizing rigorous professional development programs for the purposes of resorting to team teaching by involving teachers from related disciplines in planning and delivering lessons. Indian universities have not made any significant progress in this area thus far, and therefore this is the takeaway for us is that we should sooner we switch over to interdisciplinary teaching and learning, the better would it be. The another important subject is the role of technology in higher education. Technology has played an important role in the society. Currently, we are living in an era where technological advances are more common than anything else. In fact, there is a race going on between education and technology, and this race will continue to accelerate in times to come. We do not know what shape, the higher education is going to take because of the invasion of technological revolution. Leading universities have been promoting the use of digital tools like mobile learning, digital content platform, virtual reality and augmented reality. Virtual reality has made it possible for the students to carry out experiments in the labs from remote places. I mean, through virtual reality, you can play cricket in your drawing room, in the backyard of your home. Through virtual reality, I mean, you can do multiple things now. I mean, those kinds of gadgets are available in the market. There are other digital tools like, gamification of learning, wearable technology, automated assessment, etc. Online learning is gradually becoming more prevalent. And while some universities are offering full degree programs in online mode. Others are using online programs to augment and complement their conventional programs. Now, the responsibility on the part of the teachers is to identify which content of which course content, which part of the course content could be conveniently delivered through online mode of delivery. And if we as teachers can segregate those components and deliver through online mode, I mean, we can save some time, and that time could be devoted on carrying out other responsibilities like undertaking some research projects or helping the institutions in other administrative matters. There are companies now, at the global level, which are partnering with leading institutions to solve the most pressing educational needs for modern students. We have, we had made a beginning, a long time ago, though. You may be aware, some of you may be aware about the NPTEL program, which was a national program on technology enhanced learning. This was done through a consortia of IITs and Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 2003. This was done for the purposes of providing the quality teaching learning material to institutions which were located in far-flung areas. UGC had also launched the EPG Pathshala program under the NMEICT in 2010 and developed 29 courses at undergraduate level and 79 courses at PG level. The idea of online mode of delivery in Indian university system was mooted out by us in 2016 in the UGC, permitting universities to deliver 20% of the course content through online mode. At that time, we thought, I was part of the UGC at that time, we thought that the universities gradually will gain experience and at a later stage, they may be permitted to, offer program on 100% basis through online mode. But because of the emerging demand of the university system, the UGC has brought out an integrated regulations to enable universities to offer full-fledged online undergraduate and postgraduate programs, I think in 2021 or 2022. Now, the takeaway for us is that we have to develop expertise in creating the e-content, in fulfilling the obligations insofar as the technological infrastructure is concerned, insofar as the academic course, academic content is concerned, and insofar as the social responsibility is concerned. These are the three things which we will have to take care if we decide to offer the undergraduate and the postgraduate programs through online mode of delivery on 100% basis. As of now, there may be very few universities, I do not have any data, which can honestly fulfill all technical, academic, and social requirements of full-fledged online degree programs. And therefore, we need to work a lot on this aspect. The another area that I would like to touch upon is the diversification of campuses in terms of student population. We have talked about it in the National Education Policy 2020. There are a couple of countries in the world which continue to be the most sought after destination insofar as internationalization of higher education is concerned. US continues to dominate, then Canada, then Great Britain, Australia, Singapore and South Korea are also emerging as the hub for the international students. China has come up very well, actually. China is hosting 500,000 international students today. Though United States of America continues to host more than 1 million international students. Similarly, UK is also hosting about 400,000 international students. Canada is hosting about 500,000 or 600,000 students. But when we look at the campuses of our educational institutions, we find that we are hosting only 47,000 international students, and that too from the neighboring countries actually. And that too only in most of the students are in the undergraduate programs. Very few students from abroad are coming for the postgraduate programs or the research or the PhD programs in our country. And therefore, what we need to do, as we have envisaged in the national education policy, that we need to come up with proactive policies for the purposes of attracting the international students, which will give us lot of benefits. Our students are going to be the ultimate beneficiaries if we diversify our campuses in terms of student population. Another important aspect that I will briefly touch is about when you are diversifying the campuses in terms of student population, and when you find that each learner has his or her own learning trajectory, then what it requires is a structured and personalized learning approach, which means that we will have to come up with the flexible learning pathways wherein we not only provide the options for multiple entry and multiple exit, but we also provide the freedom to the students to choose what do they want to study, how do they want to study, where do they want to study, and when do they want to study. So that is possible only if we come up with flexible learning pathway policy. We have talked about it. We have introduced multiple entry and multiple exit options at our undergraduate programs, but I think it is going to take a while before, completely institutionalize it. There are countries in the world which have very well articulated flexible learning pathway policies. I think we also need to do that, because flexible learning pathways concept it involves multiple well-designed learning pathways that meet the needs of diverse students. Why I'm talking about it is because there are about 11 different flexible learning pathways in higher education at the global level. If you carry out the analysis at the international level. And these frameworks proved to have widened the participation rates of children in those countries. They have provided better responsiveness to diverse student needs, and they have improved the general level of education in the society. They have also increased the completion rates, and they have helped in career progression. And therefore, we also need to come up with a well-articulated, flexible learning pathway policy. We have come up with the National Higher Education Qualification Framework. We have come up with the National Credit Framework. We have also come up with the National Skill Qualification Framework. These are the frameworks which can help us to some extent in articulating the flexible learning pathway policy. And therefore, the takeaway for us is we should do it. We should do it at the national level first to begin with. We can do it at the provincial levels. We can also do it at the university level. That is what is more important for us to do. The another thing is that in a diverse system like ours, we find the disparities in academic attainments. Those disparities have been overcome by the leading countries of the world by resorting to subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes. We have not embraced that methodology in higher education thus far, whereas we have much more diversity in our country than the other countries of the world. And therefore, I would recommend that the universities should come up with subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes, which means that the subject experts must write out the statements of intents for a certain period of time. And those statements can be revisited after a gap of 2 years or 3 years for the purposes of improving the pedagogical processes, for the purposes of bringing about the pedagogical aids, for the purposes of improving the assessment techniques for measuring the students' potential. So the takeaway for us is that we should come up with the subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes, which has significant benefits. Now, I think I will also talk about the quality in higher education. Actually, I mean, philosophically, it is said that how can education be bereft of quality? If and why do we talk about quality actually? The concept of education cannot be bereft of quality. And leaders, I mean, at the international level, have tried to articulate quality in education, but they have not come up with a universal definition of quality. Because quality is a multi-dimensional, multi-level, and dynamic concept that relates to the contextual setting. I mean, there was a conference held in China in 2019 when the world leaders tried to articulate quality, but they could not agree to a universal definition of quality. But the concept of quality seeps into it when either of the two stakeholders, whether the teachers or the students, they fail to meet out the educational expectations. They fail to realize the educational aspirations. Then the concept of quality seeps into education. And I mean, worldwide, there are around 400 quality assurance bodies that are operating. These bodies are laying greater emphasis on qualification frameworks. We have also introduced a system of internal quality assurance to set quality benchmarks. We have national level accrediting agencies in the name of National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, National Board of Accreditation, that is NBA. While NAC does institutional accreditation, NBA does program accreditation. We have also developed our own ranking system, that is the National Institutional Ranking Framework, NIRF. Since 2015, we have been using that. I mean, NAC uses broad SEMIN criteria for accreditation. You may be familiar with that. NBA uses an outcome-based process of accreditation. NIRF uses a framework that broadly covers parameters like teaching, learning, and resources, research and professional practices, graduate outcomes, and institutions are ranked under 11 different categories. But what is putting maximum pressure on the Indian higher education system is the global ranking system. A global ranking are based on parameters. Some of those parameters are not applicable in our context actually, and which is why our institutions are not figuring in the top 100 or top 50 in global ranking. And people keep on asking us questions as to how our universities are not figuring in the global ranking. I mean, that is the question which we find it very hard, because some of the parameters like the number of international students, number of international faculty, citations, volume of research, quality of research. On those parameters, our institutions are not able to compete because of inherent limitations. So the takeaway for us is that if we have to compete in this fiercely competitive world, I think we'll have to follow the policy which has been followed by China. China has come up with a double first policy. They have identified certain potential institutions and pumped enormous amount of resources into those institutions to improve their standing at the global level. And if you see the QS Global Ranking 2025, you will be surprised that in the top 100 institutions of the world, China has 5 universities. Actually, China has made significant progress by way of following the policy of double first in pushing forward their institutions in global ranking. Of course, I mean, US universities continue to dominate, but it is quite creditable that 5 universities from China has figured in the global QS Global Ranking 2025. We'll have to, the takeaway for us is that I think we'll have to look into the factors which are responsible for that. China is spending 2.46% of their GDP on research and development. The US dominates because US is spending 3.49% of their GDP on research and development, whereas we are spending only 0.65% of our GDP on research and development. China has outranked the United States of America in terms of number of publications. China is publishing more than 1 million research papers annually. United States of America is publishing around 750,000 research papers annually. We are publishing around 275,000 research papers. So the takeaway for us is that if we wish to increase the volume of research, if we wish to increase the quality of our research, I think we need to increase the we need to allocate greater resources for research and development. With such a low expenditure, if our institutions are having close to 8% of their share in global research, I believe that our institutions have the capacity to do much more, provided they are given adequate resources for the promotion of volume and quality of research. These are some of the questions which I thought that I would like to discuss with you, but let me sum it up quickly. That what is the way forward? Evidently, I mean, through such a discourse, we can say that higher education is undergoing significant shifts. And with the rapidly changing landscape, I mean, the public sentiments about the value of higher education provided by most institutions is also shifting. People are looking for answers how higher education is going to respond to skill requirements, how higher education is going to respond to the invasion of the technological revolution, how higher education is going to respond to employment opportunities that are arising due to automation, globalization, and emerging technologies. Challenges in higher education in our country include everything. I mean, right from the shortage of faculty, access, equity, rising costs, declining enrollment in certain areas of study, demand for high opportunity programs, diminishing quality of research, and emerging modes of delivery. The job market is making a profound influence on enrollment trends in certain areas of study over the past few years. I think we should be very concerned about it. Why the enrollment is declining in the basic disciplines like humanities and social sciences and languages, and why there is an enormous rush on programs which we call market oriented program. How are we going to strike a balance between the two? That is a big challenge for us. While we have to come up with high opportunity programs, by linking our programs with the job market, but at the same time, I think we also have the responsibility of strengthening the basic disciplines like humanities and social sciences and languages. So the challenge for the higher education leaders is to envision these anticipated shifts and take timely measures. The current trends highlight the need for a reimagined approach for giving futuristic orientation to, let me summarize it, to interdisciplinary teaching and learning, to maximize the use of technology, to enhance the student support services, to strengthen the industry partnership, to enhance funding, making use of diversified means for mobilizing resources, and strengthening of faculty and improving the operational efficiency of our educational institutions. And all this needs to be done from micro level to macro level. And therefore, the key lies in continuous adaptation and evolution of educational offerings. It would require a dynamic approach in this ever-evolving economic landscape, with the full support of the society and with the full support of the government, without which we cannot compete with the institutions at the global level. We know what are our problems. We know how they can be fixed up. What we need is, we need political will, we need increased resources, and we need to introduce reforms which are extremely essential for bringing about the qualitative improvement. So that's all, Professor Sujan. I thought that I would like to share in today's session. Let me also say that we need to create a system where quality learning opportunities are accessible to all, where, I mean, everyone is treated with respect and dignity, and where people believe in science, respect science, and have faith and trust in evidence-based policy interventions. That is what is required in improving the quality of education in our country. And let me tell you that when people come together to make the country a better place, I mean, magic can happen. So it is not that it is not a doable proposition. It can be done. High quality higher education in the past in our country has come through private initiatives, undoubtedly. The public institutions have made significant contribution. I think now, because of massive privatization of higher education in our country, we need to come up with policies and programs so that both the systems can exist in a very harmonious manner. So that's all, Professor Susan. I wanted to share. Now I will stop. And if the participants have the questions, I would like to answer the questions. If someone wishes to make certain observations, I think we should welcome that as well. But first, I will take the questions from the participants.
Does anyone have any questions, queries? Participants?
Yes, may I?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
sure,
sure,
please.
sure.
Go ahead.
I am from PMCOE, Government Madhav College. I am philosophy professor. First of all, respected sir, many thanks to deliver your golden words before us. As I know, there is very much need of skilled education and technical education. But I only request you, as I know that you are concerned with schooly education and collegiate education, higher education. Just as you said, that natural development. So, I want to say that more art lessons, more literature, and more lessons from philosophical schools and ethics should be there in schooly education, so that when a student comes in college and to test the higher education, then these sanskar or pravritis are there for learning systematic technical education, and he may get some techniques also, but for the sake of humanity he can use all of them.
What is your question actually? Can you
I only want to the more
Actually, sir,
philosophical and more literature, more ethics should be in school education.
in school education you mean to say?
जी, in 11th and 12th, there should be these lessons compulsory. Because teenage mein, if he learns everything, then it will be for a whole life.
I think you are quite right. Education should not be bereft of values actually.
Yeah,
I, for one, believe that values are the part of education.
yeah,
Okay.
okay,
And um, if you integrate them in every domain of knowledge, right,
okay,
from the beginning, you can create a better workforce, undoubtedly. Values are, there are two sources of values. Values
okay.
are based on universal perception,
जी,
and values are also based on constitutional imperatives.
जी,
Okay. And
okay,
therefore, what we need to do is that we need to integrate values in each and every domain of knowledge.
जी,
Some people have the opinion that values can be integrated only in humanities and languages and social sciences and not in exact sciences. That is a myth. Values can be integrated equally well in basic sciences, in chemistry and in physics and in geology and botany and mathematics, provided we identify some such sports of learning wherein values based on universal perception like integrity, honesty, perseverance,
okay,
respect for
जी, जी,
elderly people can be integrated. Values based on constitutional imperatives like promotion of the composite culture of the country, like developing scientific temperament,
okay,
like protection of environment,
जी, जी, जी,
natural resources, including lakes, rivers, ponds, wildlife,
yes,
isn't it?
जी,
What
जी,
we have uh, included in Article 51A of the
yes,
Constitution.
yes,
There were earlier, 10 fundamental duties,
जी,
right from the respect for the ideals of the freedom struggle and respect for the national symbols, isn't it? And
yes,
promotion of composite culture of the country. Hmm?
yes,
Uh, we had included one more, right to education as
yes,
um, at number 11. And therefore, the values should be integrated right from school level. But higher education, in higher education also, we should consciously integrate values based on these two sources. I mean, based on universal perception and based on constitutional imperatives. I can give several examples from my own discipline, chemistry, how values can be integrated in chemistry actually.
But when we use
Okay.
all of them, because all knowledge are for the human beings. तो
Yes.
हम लोग, yes,
Yes.
when we
Yeah.
use, then we only keep in memory that all knowledge for the humanity's sake.
Yeah. Right. Any other questions, please?
Good
Thank you.
evening, sir. It was an informative session and I enlightening us with much knowledge. Thank you, Professor Ved Prakash, sir. Sir, I have one query. So what is the role of government? What is the role of stakeholders in shaping the higher education? So, for example, the role, why I have taken this role from the government perspective. So, many of the public universities still they are facing the challenges like databases, availability of databases. Still, there are major challenges, sir, like technically.
The role of the government is to empower the youth, is to transform the children into real assets. And therefore, the primary responsibility of the government is to educate each and every child, empower each and every child, and place the child in a position where from they can make a decent living and they can significantly contribute in the economic development of the country. Okay. And therefore, that is the primary responsibility of the government. But because of the paucity of resources available with the government, we had opened up the window for the private players in 1991. When we embraced the liberalization, globalization, and privatization.
Privatization, globalization. Yes, sir. It has opened the doors for many players.
Yes. And even in earlier times, actually, even prior to 90s, we had, I mean, if you see Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, it was a private initiative made by Jamshedji Tata in 1909. Vishwa Bharati was a private initiative made by Thakur Rabindranath Tagore in 1916. Banaras Hindu University was a private initiative made by Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Aligarh Muslim University was a private initiative made by Sir Syed Khan. Isn't it? So I think we have to be pragmatic. Government does not have adequate resources because of such a large population. And therefore, we have to, I had said in my lecture that we need to ensure a harmonious coexistence of both public and private institutions. But the government should come forward to make sure that the education which is imparted from the campuses of both sets of institutions is a quality education. And in certain cases, the government should subsidize. I mean, the education. No one should be deprived of education because of the financial constraints. That is the commitment of the government. And therefore, the government should put higher education onto the priority agenda. Which means that more allocations, more resources should be made available for the promotion of education at both the levels, at the school level. That is also equally important. See, we are spending only 3.6% of the GDP on education. And when you split it, you find that you are spending 1.86% of your GDP on elementary education and 1.16%, I think, on secondary education, and only 0.73% on higher education. And if you split the higher education resources into technical education and general higher education, you find that you are spending only 0.49% of your GDP on general higher education and 0.24% of your GDP on technical higher education, which is a very small amount. We have been talking about 6% of the GDP since 1966. Kothari Commission had made that recommendation in 1966. But that continues to remain a distant dream for us. And let me tell you, why did Kothari made that? Let me tell you why Kothari made that recommendation. Because at that point in time, the developed economies were spending around 6% of their GDP on education. So that magic figure, did not figure from anywhere else. It figured from the experiences of the developed economies. And still, you Google and you will find that United States of America continues to spend more than 6% of their GDP on education. So what we need to do is that we need to increase resources. We need to increase allocations, both at the national level and also at the provincial level, at the state level. Only then we can bring about qualitative improvement. Only then we can compete at the global level. Otherwise, we will continue to suffer from the disparities that exist in academic attainments across the states, across the institutions, across the universities, across the colleges.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir,
So
for
shall
your
we-
valuable insight. Sir, public-private partnership models will bring efficiency in delivery of quality lecture, attainment of the academic goals.
It can certainly, but we have not been able to come up with a good model. The first model which we had created was Indian Institute of Information Technology in Hyderabad, but it ran into great difficulty.
So
Then
shall we wind up?
campaign. We should a campaign, national campaign, like the freedom, and as we were together for the freedom in 1948. So qualitative education should be national campaign, as I feel. Then we only produce the best persons.
In my opening remarks, I had said that during the era of freedom struggle, education, equality, and social justice, they were the main subjects of discourse.
Yes.
But are we organizing discourses on these subjects anymore? Do they become the part of our election campaigns? Are we
Never,
asking
never.
are we asking our political leaders what are they going to do for the education of our children?
Yes, we should aware. We should aware.
Which is why I said that after independence, these subjects seem to have not received the desired attention.
Yes.
I chose my words very carefully.
Ji.
Had we done that, if you look at the profile of the countries which got independence around that time, many countries in the Asian region got independence or in the other parts of the world around 50s actually. Where have they reached? You compare South Korea. Sometimes the comparison becomes inappropriate because of the size. size of South Korea is very, very different from our size.
Yes.
But their parameters were absolutely the same which we had. I mean, for instance, but they have improved so very well.
जी sir, जी sir.
It's not. We also have some very good institutions in our country, undoubtedly. But that number is very small, actually. We need to multiply that number. And in order to multiplying that number, what we need is visionary leadership. We need political commitment. We need greater resources. And we need to realize that we can empower our youth only through education and not through sloganeering.
Of course, जी.
Okay.
Sir,
Thanks.
shall we
Thank you very
wind
much.
up, sir? It is going to be
Yeah.
30.
Thank you, sir. And I
Ma'am,
think we can
yes.
wind up. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
can I also join this chat just to, ma'am, I'm Lakshmi from Kerala. Ma'am, can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, sir.
Go ahead, please.
I wish to just incline your thoughts on the many of the jobless PhD holders in India, and I wish to take a statistical data from different disciplines, jobless aspirants with PhD. So, in my own case also, I was having a job very late, and so many PhD holders are remaining jobless in India. And how we can tap their potential, in which way, so that we can turn our India into better India. Because looking up the young generation, they'll be looking up and seeing the seniors jobless, PhD holders jobless.
Yes.
And how can we inspire the young generation with examples that all these potential people, they are just being taken care of? How can we assure the young generation?
We can do it, ma'am, by closing the skilling gaps. Okay. So we have to give vocational orientation to education. We have been talking about it right from Wood's dispatch of 1854. Okay. I mean, Sargent Commission, I mean, and Wood's dispatch, and then later on Mudaliar Commission and all that, but we have not been able to do that. All the leading countries of the world have given vocational orientation to education, both at school level and higher education level. We have not been able to do that, and as a result of which we are churning out children. We are churning out graduates who are desirous of jobs, but they do not have necessary skills and competencies which are needed by the modern world. And which is why we need a reimagined approach to modernize our curricular provisions, both at school level and at higher education level. One sector alone is not going to empower. If you think that higher education alone will do it, you depend upon the feeder cadre. Isn't it? The success of higher education system also depends upon the successful transitions of students from the secondary school level to higher education level. And therefore, you have to look, which is why we have talked about the holistic development, which is why we have talked about the integration of the different sectors of education, integration of elementary education with secondary education and secondary education with higher education. I mean, we have not been able to do it successfully. All the sectors are working in isolation, and we were forewarned by Kothari Commission in 1966 about this isolation of different sectors. So we can overcome it only by way of integrating all the sectors of higher education and by giving vocational orientation to education. I mean, the leading universities of the world are coming up with the shorter programs now. They are not only focusing on 4-year undergraduate program, they are coming up with the 2-year diploma program or 1-year certificate program, like we have also talked about it in the national education policy. But it requires, altogether the overhauling of the curricular provisions that we have.
Thank you, sir.
Remaining questions, I think we can take it in sir's next class. It's already yes, sir, 8:30. So, sir, it's a time like if you have a query, sir is going to address us again in 2 or 3 more classes, and you can still have a time to discuss with sir all your queries and doubt, and you clear your doubts. And sir, here is a time to express vote of thanks. Sir, we are deeply grateful for the insightful and thought-provoking presentation you delivered on higher education and society. Your expertise and passion for the subject have enlightened us on the critical issues and challenges facing higher education in India. Your remarks have not only broadened our understanding, but also inspired us to think critically about the role of higher education in shaping our society. We appreciate the time and effort and the energy you took to share your valuable experience and knowledge with us, sir. Please accept our sincere appreciation for your contribution to our understanding of this vital topic. Really, we are honored to have you and had the opportunity to learn from you. Thank you once again, sir, for your enlightening talk. I cannot say
My pleasure.
presentation,
Thank you.
enlightening talk. Thank you, sir. So
Thank you
we are
very
looking
much,
forward to
Susan.
hearing you again on this platform with the same.
Good night to everyone. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Good night. Good night, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
So tomorrow we'll be meeting at 5 p.m. again to all of you. Thank you so
All of
much.
you. Thank you. All of you can fill your feedback forms for section 1 and section 2. So it is given in your chat box, and complete that also, and see you tomorrow. Good evening to all of you. And good night.